Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. Well, yesterday I went and I did some long overdue maintenance on my trading account, and I was trying to switch back over to Rhythmic, and it seems that they have disconnected my old CQG connection. I can't connect to CQG anymore, but I haven't gotten anything for connecting to Rhythmic. So you're on the clock now, AMP. We have to talk to AMP support and see what's up. So this should be fun. It's always fun when we have to talk to AMP support. All right, let's start the text-to-speech here for you guys. Dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. Still starting. We'll come over here. You can see all my DOMs. Nothing going through. Okay, there we go. So we will pull up their chat here. Choose a department. I think we want customer. No, wait. I think we want technical support. Isn't there technical support? Oh, yeah. Customer service technical support. Okay. I don't know how to spell received, apparently. Let's just check it one more time. Contact your FCM, yes. Your logon is disabled. We're third in the queue. All right, well. In the meantime, National Hurricane Center says that Hurricane Laura has formed and is projected to cause devastating damage along the U.S. Gulf Coast. Oh, I have to tell them my number. That is. Well, they responded very, very quickly. So that's good. He's typing, it's taking a long time, and that makes me concerned the longer he types. Oh, I see. Bum 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 ba-dum. Dum, bum, ba-dum. Okay, so we have to come in here and add a rhythmic, and it's that. Oops, how did that space get there? Uh, okay. And cool, it's there. So what happened was, thank you. Hey guys, AMP support comes through. What do you know? I guess that was probably my bad. I probably should have tried my old rhythmic credentials to begin with. But that's good, and I'm happy about that. Let's see here. Well, I got more levels on the E-mini, but shouldn't I get like everything? Let's see here. Let's just try over here in the 10-year. Oh, do I have it? Oh, I only have it set to show 10. So let's show 64. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I actually had these ones to show 100. I think the most they'll show you is 64, right? 31. No, wait. 77. 79. Will it show me? No, it's not showing me more than that. 64, 64, 64. And then the E-mini, I think that I can get the E-mini to show me even more than that, right? Oh no, I'm showing 100. Well, we can definitely improve that on this one. 100. Bada boom. Bada boom. Wait, how come that one's only showing me? Well, it says 100. I guess that is showing 64. It's just further. Oh, that's so much better. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh my gosh. So much better. I am so happy. I will read this chat. Okay, cool. Cool. So the question is, pull up in here. Cool. It's there. It's good. And everything's loading. Okay, so now we can go into the charts, shall we? Volume profile. Well, there's copper. Copper took a little bit of a dive yesterday. Still kind of flat from there. Now the E-mini, I just okay. So we came out and we were taking some shorts yesterday, right? And it looked pretty bearish. They took some hits, but you know they were super up yesterday, anyways, right? So they have to give some of that back. They didn't completely retrace the gap either. Regular session gaps, which is unusual, but they came in. At the end of the day, it was like all of a sudden just somebody flipped the switch on and they're just like bid, 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 bid. But it wasn't just bid. I mean, like going into the close, it was like panic bid. I was so shocked. Everybody in Discord was just like, what the fuck is going on? It was just crazy. It was insane. All right. And then overnight, look, again, moving up. I don't 100% understand. Um, I mean, there's news out there. Let's see here. I'm kind of forgetting what we got going on here. There was some positive comments on uh, trade. There was I don't know, man. It's just like it's up again, and we're bid up here. It's all kind of crazy. Now the treasuries responding in kind and taking quite a bit of a dip. Right? Just I mean, that's pretty ugly, but some steepening on the 2s and 10s on that. Now remember, today 2-year auction, so that might change. But some steepening, I guess steepening in the 2s and 10s is good. Are we getting it in the knobs and stuff? Oh, the whole curve's steepening. Whole curve is steeper. Oil on the up and at
Lobo
the
Trader
higher
says
end of
good
the
morning.
most recent range. Good morning, Lobo. Welcome back. Gold still kind of lackluster, to be honest. And then let's look at the the currency complex. You can see we had quite a bit of dollar strengthening yesterday during the morning session, and overnight a little bit of dollar weakness, but nothing too strong. So that's where we're at. I want to come over here to Rand Squawk. Sorry, News Squawk now. They're News Squawk now, guys. And then U.S. Treasury Lighthizer and Treasury Secretary Mnuchin spoke with China Vice Premier
Salim
Li
L
Qiu
says
on
you.
Monday.
Salim L says BOOOOOWWWSS.
There was a reshuffle in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, dollar weakness. Fauci talking about not prematurely approving COVID-19 vaccine. I don't know. I can't explain everything that's going on. It's well, okay, so I'll tell you one thing. That happened last night is that the Republican convention is going quite well for them. It seems like the Republicans are energized by what they're getting, and they seem to have a coherent message that is getting much better reception than the Democrats' message. Which is to say, I don't know if the Democrats' message really was a whole lot other than orange mad bad and we're so virtuous. But the Republicans are very much like, this is what's going to happen if you elect the Democrats, and this is what we want to do, and this and that. Anyways, Republicans seem to be responding to it, and I think that the market is starting to think that how do I say this? This whole Biden surge and Biden's going to win and everything. I think that people are really starting to question that and are starting to lean back towards that Donald Trump is going to win. Let's go and see if the betting markets has detected any of that. In where do we call predict it? Yes, that's where we go. I'm like, what's the betting site that we go to? Well, they still have Biden at 59%. How did they get that at 59 and Donald Trump at 45? 60, 45. That's the sum of the parts is greater than 100. What the fuck? Kremlin slams German medics haste on Nalvani poisoning. Oh yes, that whole thing. Zero hedge mortgage delinquencies soar to decade high. Oh, we did have some news, did we not, at the bottom of the hour? Oh, we should go and look at that. That was our news at the bottom of the hour. Oh, I guess not. This week. Settings. There was nothing on Monday. Oh, we really don't have. We really didn't have one at the bottom of the hour? Why am I getting Forex Live tweeting to me the Fed August non-manufacturing index 1.6 versus 0.7 prior? But I don't see that on here. Okay, well, we got consumer confidence today and new home sales. So those are important numbers. And we got a 2-year auction in the treasuries. But this is just so high. If we had taken, yeah, there was an opportunity to short a while ago, but now I'm not so sure about that one. Meanwhile, over here, my cumulative depth that I'm getting, oh, I must have it on, okay, we're going to have to change this. It seems to me that my resting, or yeah, I don't have any filters on it. That's why it's so high. But why am I getting spaces? Well, I'm going to have to look into that. So I put those on the one range charts. So I'm not quite sure why it's like that. I think that there must be. Well, are we getting? Do we get any kind of? No. No output messages.
Ace Trades says just checking in.
Hey Ace, how are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. I switched back over to Rhythmic today, so I'm still kind of gathering my bearings. But I'm just watching, like I thought that the rally into the close was pretty crazy, and now further rally overnight, and it's just like that's a really big move off of what seems like nothing, and I'm not sure what to make of it, and I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. And also, one of my indicators, it seems, is not doing what it should. That's definitely really big because of not having the filter on it, right? I come in here and add the filter and just make it
Salim L says, is
10.
McFillet of fish any good? Any better than a cheeseburger?
Oh, it's okay, I guess. It's okay, I guess. Do it that way. That's more like what it used to be. Okay. Okay, so if it's 10, let's do 24. When it finishes loading, we'll do 24. Bitcoin down a little bit, by the way. Bitcoin down. Did I not change? Oh, I probably changed it on the wrong.
Salim L says, what are you up to today, boss?
What am I up to? Oh, this is, I did the wrong. It's these ones should be over. Anyways, I switched over to rhythmic today. So we're just kind of looking around and seeing what's going on. Fixing a couple of things about our workspace and stuff. Dun, 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 dun. I want, like, let's try Dodger Blue and Bearish. We will make it orange. Hopefully that's not too pukish. And the midline color we will make white. There we go. That looks way better already. What's a good color that goes with, well, orange? Yellow. We could just do a yellow. Yellow, blue, green. I don't know. Yeah, I think it looks okay.
Salim L says, no, you betrayed the CQG gods, evil shall befall upon thee.
Well, the tick was just not doing anything for me, man. So I guess I'll leave that CCI on there, but let's just get rid of the tick here. Remove. Okay. That also means this chart is useless. Black man shot by police in Wisconsin is paralyzed, reports the AP. That's not. Robin Hood traders as the saviors of the stock market and capitalism, tweets the market ear. What? Read for yourself and decide via the Telegraph. Okay, let's read it. Far from being a danger to anyone, the Robin Hood traders may well end up saving capitalism for all of us. I highly doubt that. Oh my gosh, you people. It has been the most unlikely tech star of lockdown while most people were spending their time posting pictures of freshly baked sourdough bread on Instagram, catching up on every box set Netflix ad ever made, or figuring out how to get the audio and video to sync on Zoom. It turns out a significant number of us were doing something more productive with all that free time, trading furiously and trying to make ourselves a fortune. Then you have to log in to see more. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that if the only thing saving the stock market is featherheads, then we are so screwed.
Salim L says, I feel like a regular sausage is actual meat while MCD is that soy synthetic meat.
Why are you asking about McDonald's?
Sunday Driver says RNC is the end of the world. Only Kamala Harris can save us.
I'm hearing, I didn't really see a whole lot about anything. Like, I think that the
Uzi Knesset says sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle is the tits. Salim L says my first time to get my food delivered to my house while watching a movie. I always had to go fetch it.
okay. I think that the thing at the Democratic convention that got the most airplay was AOC kind of snubbing Joe Biden. That was the only thing that I really heard about. And I mean, I was really scouring Reddit for it, but let's see here. I guess Obama did have a speech, and Obama's wife had a speech that was pretty
Uzi Knesset
scathing.
says I dunno man, everyone talking about McDonald's food. Figured I'd give my input, lol.
So, but the Republican convention, they seem super energized about it. So I don't know what to make of this. Oh, I think that's just, that's where every bar is. Oh, and the gaps is probably just it staying there for longer. Okay. So it actually is an artifact of not being on a minute chart, is what that is. I think what I need to do is I need to make an indicator that shows me the difference between the maximum level 2 being placed and the minimum of everything. And looking for when the difference between those two is extreme. And seeing if we see anything with that. It might just be a lot of noise, but I think that we could use that as like this is sketchy kind of action, you know? Maybe we want to be careful. Hmm.
Uzi Knesset says got Red Book in 5.
Oh, yes. Red Book, the year over year, and then at the top of the hour, house price index. I'm still trying to figure out how we're up at
Sunday
30.
Driver says Kamala.
Oh my gosh, Sunday. We were like 3,400 and yesterday, and it was like too high, and now all of a sudden we're like at 3,450. How is that? And I really don't see a news
Gustavo
catalyst.
says Trump.
Sunday Driver is just messing with you guys, Gustavo. Sunday Driver thinks that
Salim L says Trump effect is on.
Sunday Driver has been promoting a return to the gold standard and believes that we should repeal the 19th Amendment so that women can't vote. Okay. He's not
Salim
a
L says Trump is my dream daddy.
He's not a Kamala voter. He's been joking with us for these past 2 weeks or so. Oh, what is who saying? Implementing U.S.-China Phase 1 trade deal means the decoupling of the two countries will cost more. Two Chinese
Salim
people.
L says then Sunday Driver is my dream daddy.
To Chinese people, this kind of implementation is win-win. Is this China wins twice, as some politicians claim? How? What? Okay. What he's saying there makes no sense. Implementing the deal means that decoupling China with China will cost more. It's just kind of interesting. Okay, so he must be saying that because Donald Trump was kind of saying yesterday that he was going to stick it to China, I guess. But like the whole thing has been that like the phase 1 deal didn't really do a whole lot, right? Like, he think that because of the phase 1 deal that now China can just renege on phase 2 and not actually change anything? I think that if that's what you think, then you got something coming, which probably wouldn't be very bullish for the market. But of course, they wouldn't pull that one until after the election, right? Oh boy. Wirecard cut around 730 go to, okay, who cares? The Europeans care. Europeans care about that Wirecard.
Salim L says I wish I had a daddy that hoards physical gold, has a 12-gauge shotgun, eats sausage every day, and preps for the upcoming apocalypse.
Ooh, Zero Hedge tweeted something 7 minutes ago that I think is an interesting question. What happens to oil price if a Biden administration removes the Iran oil export embargo?
Uzi Knesset says that's oddly specific.
What, then eats sausage every day? Now all of the news squawks are retweeting who there? So I'm just noting here in the E-mini, the difference between the liquidity that really wants to get filled and the liquidity that's stacking and pulling is a difference of about 150 contracts. Hmm. So I keep looking at this and I'm like, I really don't know how they can hold this, but I don't know if a sell here makes sense. I mean, you're at the buyer's cost basis, so you're not really getting like amazing risk reward. And not in the for the E-mini, I have not found that to really work out. I guess we could go over to the treasuries and try and sell those because those just keep going down. Did we get the okay, so we did get the red book came out and it was spot 6 versus a previous -2 spot 8 for year over year and month over month 4 spot 1 versus the previous 2 spot 8. First squawk, Kim Jong-un is not sharing power with sister Kim Yo-jong, South Korean official. So, okay, that's interesting. So I think that the take that people are going to get from that one is that the sister is trying to take power. She doesn't like what her brother is doing. Let's check how our video did yesterday, shall we? It was doing pretty good. I'm getting some good metrics from it.
Uzi Knesset says Kim's sister looks like she eats babies.
She is scary, isn't she? We got a bunch of
Sunday Driver says Powell is now on the record as being a strong advocate for inflation. Buy gold.
Nah. A strong advocate for inflation. That is the most disingenuous uh take on what they are doing I think you could possibly come up with, Sunday Driver. Powell is on record as every central banker in the world is of a inflation target of about 2% per year. And Powell is simply going in and saying that their central bank's approach to inflation has been ineffective, which is true. And they are going to potentially change their outlook on inflation that might affect Fed policy going forward to get us to that 2% target. So if you get to that 2% target, is that really a huge deal? I mean, I guess it will make gold go up, sure, but this kind of I don't like let's put it this way. Um this has been coming out over the past week that they're going to be changing their inflation outlook, and that his speech on Thursday is probably going to be pretty significant, and that the next Federal Reserve meeting is probably going to be pretty significant. And is gold on bid after
Sunday
that?
Driver says
No.
Kim Yo-young is one YouTube makeup makeover from being a babe.
She's scary, dude. She is crazy. That's what I say. Oh, you know what else I should point out, that the level 2 really seems to favor going short right now on in the E-mini.
Salim L says all I can think about those juicy sausages they sell downtown. Call me lazy, call me whatever, all I know is I am craving shit.
Really like a really sweet sausage, like the brown sugar maple sausage. Dude, so my video yesterday was like, understand the markets and everything, and then the top comment is a robot saying, "Oh, all you have to do is trade that," like exact opposite of what I said in the video.
Uzi Knesset says at Salim L, are you pregnant?
Sunday Driver says you are seriously discounting Powell's position on inflation.
It hasn't made an effect on the gold market since it's happened, has it? Gold is down since then, frankly. I don't think that a central banker coming out and saying, "Well, we should try and hit our 2% target," is like really because the way that you're putting it, "Oh, he's in favor of inflation," makes it sound like, "Oh yes, like we're going to get hyperinflation now and the US currency is going
Sunday
to fall
Driver says his
apart."
speech is Thursday.
And this and that and the other. Well, if he gives his speech on Thursday and gold like really goes bid, then maybe you have a point. But I just don't think that it's an alarming, careful inflation is coming sort of a message that he's sending. I think it's kind of more of a, hey, maybe the economy will actually start working the way that it's supposed to again. It's because you need that inflation. Oh my. That's good. You guys did a good job on the video yesterday. That's this would be a really good thing for new traders. Thank you so much. It's getting a really good click-through rate. People are watching the
Sunday
video.
Driver says he's saying inflation will run higher than normal. Fed always overshoots. Big inflation coming.
Well, overshooting doesn't necessarily. I mean, if if inflation goes to 2.5% year over year instead of 2%, is that really a huge deal? I mean, it's a deal. It's certainly something that's going to move the markets, but it's not like the end of the world or anything. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for the stock market, especially. Alligator saying we thought Powell expected
Sunday
analysis
Driver
would
says at least
steepen the curve.
5%.
A bit surprised by strength, although economic news. If inflation gets to 5%, then there's something wrong.
Salim L says, does anyone KNWO anyone who really supports Joe Biden for his values?
Well, I see a lot of people out there trying to make the case that Joe Biden is a moral man and he goes to church and he's more moral than Donald Trump. But I think that this is let me tell you something. Something that I feel really strongly about, and I'm kind of on the wrong side of this issue compared to most of the people that live around me. Don't fall for the moral leader argument. Okay, listen, nobody gets to that level of politics without having a few skeletons in their pocket, in their closets rather. Okay, you have to have a large part of your success in politics is going to be your willingness to do things that you don't necessarily agree with in order to get elected. That's just the way that it is. Look at me. Okay, I'm the kind of person that I'm just going to say what I'm going to say, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? Would I be good at politics? Probably wouldn't be very good at getting elected because I would take a position on an issue that a lot of people don't like and they won't vote for me for it, right? So why do politicians make this argument? The reason that a politician makes the argument that they are more moral than the other side is because that's the only way to get you to vote against your interests, right? If a politician is coming in and saying, like Joe Biden is, for instance, I'm going to tax the heck out of you guys, and I'm, basically everything about the way that things work for you right now, if you're doing well, we're going to ruin it, and we're going to give all of your money to this other group. Okay? How do you get those people to vote for you? The only way that you can get people to do that, to vote against their own interests, is by convincing them that you're more moral than the other side, that what you're doing is moral, and possibly even as the Democrats do, to say that it's immoral for you to have all of these things that you have. You get where this is going? So yeah, that's, of course, they push that. But back to inflation, if we can. If the Federal Reserve overshoots and we go to 5% inflation, that is not in line with what Powell is saying, and there is a serious problem with their Fed policy. But if your base case investment thesis is that the inflation is going to go to 5%, you're really likely to be disappointed. Look at this. 52% audience retention. This is really good, guys. It's a shorter video, so that kind of helps. That's cool. Good job. No, I think that they're going to have, this whole thing that they can allow inflation to run a little bit longer when it's been running below for so long, I think makes sense, but I don't think that you're going to be letting inflation go to 5%, right? It's going to be more like 2.5. Maybe you get to 3. Once you start going beyond that, then you start to get runaway considerations get involved, right? Mm-mm-mm. Spanish Prime Minister Sanchez rejects a new national lockdown, putting pressure instead on regional authorities to come up with a response. The Hill reports the first night of the GOP convention delivers nearly 6 times more views than the start of the Democrats gathering on C-SPAN. And I bet you that it just gets better for the Republicans.
Uzi Knesset says Democrats are just such negative energy.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the problem that I think that Democrats have right now is like, uh, especially, and this wouldn't always matter, but I think that it really matters when you're going up against Donald Trump. And it's this: uh, what are you gonna do for me? Like, I guess they're kind of saying like socialism for all, but they can't
Sunday
like
Driver says I'm
explicitly
blue,
make that
through and
argument,
through.
right?
Go Joe and Kamala.
They can't really explicitly make that argument, right? And they haven't been. So when it comes down to like what is Joe Biden going to do for me? When I look at what he's been saying, he's going to tax me more. Is what he's going to do for me. You know, especially middle class America, you know, like the bulk of the US population, they don't benefit from Joe Biden becoming president. And it's kind of like, you know, there's a lot of people that would really like to replace Donald Trump, sure, but I don't think that they're willing to pay for it. You know what I mean? Just let it go for 4 more years. Uh, I don't think the last 4 years were that bad. It was mostly a lot of drama, you know. But look, the market's fine. See, I don't think that their message there that they pushed during the convention really makes a lot of sense. Whereas the Republican message, I think, has two components that I think are really key. One is that voting for us is in your explicit financial interest is the first thing, and then but then the second thing is that they've made the case that voting for the Democrats is a threat to, you know, the country as a whole because of Antifa and all of this sort of stuff, and because they're communists, you know? And normally the Republicans wouldn't make that argument, but they are going full Trump with it, and they're going with that message. I didn't think that they would do it quite like that, but they have. And you look at the speakers, all of these, you know, regular people that kind of are on the wrong end of the media and stuff like that are going to be speaking. It really, I don't think that it seems like the Republicans are very clearly winning the convention battle. But you know, that usually isn't a significant factor. What will be a significant factor is how effective is their messaging going forward. And it seems to me that the Democrats are going to have to re-gear their message, and that's a problem for the Democrats because so far their strategy has been hide in the basement. And if you have to actually go out and make a call, that's a real problem for Joe Biden. You know, that's why I think on predict it right now with Biden being at like 60%. I don't think that's gonna last. Look at the Treasury there. Well, you know what? The equity markets have been really quiet this whole time. U.S. exporters sell 408,000 tons of corn to China. Great. So now China has all of our corn. Not a whole lot of it left. A Washington Post trashes blood plasma COVID-19 treatment after Trump announces breakthrough. Really? Blood from people who recover from coronavirus could provide treatment, reported the Washington Post on March 27th, a couple of weeks after the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. Just over a week later, the Washington Post reported again that while there was no vaccine yet for COVID-19, we do have one potentially promising treatment to help people with infected coronavirus infusions of antibody-rich plasma from other patients who have had the disease and recovered. A couple of months, blah, 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 blah. Scientists, and then flash forward, scientists express doubts about coronavirus treatment. Food and Drug Administration's decision to give emergency authorization for the convalescent plasma as a treatment for novel coronavirus patients, touted as a historic breakthrough, is raising doubts among some experts who say the therapy hasn't been adequately tested. The urgency of the crisis has elided with false sense that we should skip over rigorous studies of the interventions because we don't have enough time.
Uzi
I don't
Knesset
know.
says, quick, scientists, doubt anything that can make
This is
COVID
such
go away.
a load of shit. Like, since when has a blood plasma treatment had severe negative consequences for people? Like, this is like it is hydrochloroquine all over again, because they're like, well, it doesn't really prove effective, but then it's like, okay, but it's like harmless, and there is some evidence that it does help. Yeah, there really is hydroxychloroquine all
Uzi
over
Knesset
again.
says, you notice that through the COVID saga? If it involves collapsing people's lives, science is all for it, no questions. If it involves saving them, doubt.
Yeah, no, the whole thing is it's just like the amount of scientific rigor that they demand in some instances and not in other instances is insane. Like, think about, what if they had required the same degree of rigorous scientific evidence to justify a shutdown? It wouldn't have happened, guys. Straight up. Because you know what? The study that they based that whole thing on was wrong. And the model that they used, you can
Uzi
go on.
Knesset says that's why people who think the scientific community is unbiased are potatoes.
Yeah, you can go on. It's like the code is available. It's a mess. Microsoft was going in and trying to fix it, and it was a nightmare. It doesn't even, like, there are so many bugs in it that it doesn't even, it's like non-determinate code. They can't even test it. So there's no way to even verify that the model works the way that they claim it does, let alone that it works at all. There was absolutely nothing scientific about it. And they shut down the whole country over that one statistical study. But then when it comes to using hydroxychloroquine, a medicine that has been in use for decades and we've never had any problems with, it's like, oh, but we have to go through this really rigorous trial before we'll allow people to use it. And since it hasn't been proven, we're going to ban its use. What a load of shit. You're totally right, Uzi. I 100% agree with you. And it's not because I think that hydroxychloroquine is like a really effective treatment for coronavirus. It's just, it's so obvious that there is a bias in here and that it is affecting what scientists are saying. And for that matter, Dr. Fauci. He's just not an objective observer. He simply isn't. He might know a lot of what he's talking about, but he is not objective about this at all.
Uzi Knesset says it's because they knew destroying everything would make people need the government more. Everywhere they did it. That's why they did it.
If that's why they did it, they're in for a rude awakening. Because you know what's going to happen here? Kids are all going back to school. A lot of places in the nation have already gone back to school. You notice that you haven't really heard a whole lot about it, even though it's started up again? My kids go on Wednesday. Okay. They have all of these crazy measures. Okay. I don't know. When I was in school, okay, the thing that happened was a Columbine shooting. And after the Columbine shooting, you weren't allowed to have a backpack anymore. So I remember having to go through uh, all of junior high, having to carry my books. And you had to carry, I mean, it was like a different large book for every class for me when I was in junior high, man. It was a pain in the butt. Now, of course, by the time I left junior high, they abandoned that policy. Okay. Are they going to keep these plastic shields up and require the kids to wear face masks all day for the whole school year? Well, I thought that the backpack thing was pretty extreme, so I wouldn't underestimate the school's ability to cling on to a really annoying policy. But at the same time, like, kids are gonna take the mask off. It's annoying to wear something like that all day. It's annoying to wear something like that all day. I give it a month. I think after a month, people are gonna start wondering, like, do we really need this? Like, can the kids go to school every day now? Can you know what I mean? And the kids are going to be right in the center of all of this. And what do you think is going to be going through the kids' heads, right? How long are the kids going to put up with that before they say, this is fucking stupid? Hmm? You're about to see the biggest red pilling of of a group in the history of ever. And all of these kids are going to come out with a severe distrust of government because of these policies, not a desire to be more dependent on government. That's my prediction.
Uzi Knesset says they're going to wind down the COVID narrative as the election approaches. Watch.
Well, they're
Uzi
they're already
Knesset says
winding
I
it down.
remember after Columbine, I went to Burlington and bought a black trench coat. They had marked them all down almost 80%. I was like, hell yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in a black trench coat after that, man. Well, the treasuries were able to bid back up. And I'm seeing a pretty significant change over there. They didn't kick me out of school for it, but they did make me sit down with a guidance counselor for wearing a trench coat. That's funny. The problem child Uzi.
Sunday driver says I wear fake dynamite tied to my waist everywhere I go.
No, you don't, but I would totally believe that you would do that. Man, the E-mini looks like it wants to take a dive, but it is not doing it. Not yet. It's too close to the open, I
Salim
guess.
L says I know a
Block
professor,
cell.
my former colleague, that genuinely hates Trump. She still does. Now she supports Joe and bashes people for not wearing masks. I really don't understand her. She is so ethical.
Okay, so there was a big sell into 05. 3600 sold at 05.
Uzi Knesset says then I got real into Slipknot and started wearing a mechanic's jumpsuit to school. Another sit down lol. Vlad Stolyarov
mechanic's
says
jumpsuit?
CRMAMG and Hun are now in Dow Jones, they kicking laggards out like XOM.
Yes, I saw that, Vlad. I found it a little curious how much that dominated the pre-market news.
Uzi Knesset says I have holdings in XOM. Their booting made me sad.
Now, as I'm seeing the E-mini kind of like turning down and looking like it wants to take a dive, I'm seeing the euro strengthening and some significant weakening of the dollar index overall. So I think that this situation is really sketchy. And it continues to ramp U.S. agricultural purchases. That's good. That's really good, actually. That could be more good than market realizes. Wow. Jack Ma started Alibaba with $60,000 borrowed from 18 friends. A U.S. spy plane flew into China. Oh dear. Over a no-fly zone in China. So bold. I mean, I can see it's going down. And the other side of this is 32. So, we could see that, especially off the open, we could see that. It's after that that I'm not so sure about, and I'm not so sure that this is a really good risk reward location for it. We lodge
Salim L says
CERN.
your Vista map turned green on Rhythmic. EWH. Not good.
Well, it used to be, what happened was it was always green, and then we had to fix our charts, and I was too lazy to switch it back to the green, and then I had to switch to an older workspace to save it, and so then the green came back. But I like the green, and you're right, it looks
Uzi
disgusting.
Knesset says have you downloaded the Jigsaw Charts beta yet?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There hasn't been a new one, has there? I'm still on beta 2.
Uzi Knesset says any good?
I can show you if you want. Let's see if. Oh, you know what? I don't know if it would be a good idea to do that right now because, yeah, for starters, I don't have the credentials set up into Jigsaw. But then the other thing is that it might reload all these DOMs, and that would be more data from Rhythmic, which they don't like. So now they're going. Maybe they are. Maybe they are going to do it before the open. Maybe I should have just gone for it. So, I would say, on the Jigsaw charts, I would say adequate but not good. There's nothing particularly special about their charts. They're pretty basic. It comes with a ton of indicators, and most of them are nonsense.
Salim L says ticks look dead on Rhythmic.
The things that I would really like to see aren't really there. And you can't program for it, so it's like now they haven't put in their footprint chart. I'm hoping that their footprint chart will be really good.
Uzi
And
Knesset says I haven't downloaded it yet. Since I live trade off my Jigsaw, I don't want to deal with it like, not working lol.
yeah, well, it is a beta for sure. I understand. I highly doubt that it would cause you any problems live trading, but for somebody that's as concerned about it as you are, it's probably not worth it. Here's the thing. They're using somebody else's chart. In fact, I can tell you where it came from. I don't know if they want you to know this, but I poked into the code and I found it. Where was it? It's called Dev Express. They're using a chart that's built into Dev Express, which is a C#
Uzi Knesset
package.
says you and your poking.
Yeah. Well, you can see that. You can see the DLLs in there, right? And I looked it up, and yep, they matched. It's the Dev Express charts. That's it right there. Actually, I think it's charts extensions, but I digress. And that's why it comes with so many really bizarre indicators, because these guys just went and found, like, you know, I probably came from like a C# library of indicators or something. So I think they might have a super smoother. There was one that was like an exponent. It wasn't an exponential. It was like a 2-pole moving average. So it wasn't called a super smoother, but I mean, the super smoother is a 2-pole whatever. So but I
Salim L
haven't
says
like pulled them
exposed
up
by
and
Seth
compared
the
to see if it
Speculator.
was. Yeah. So there's a lot of news about this spy plane flying over Chinese military exercises. I don't know if that has anything to do with the downturn, but anyways, it was not any that poking that significant, but you get what I'm saying, right? So I'm actually a little surprised that it's taken them as long as it has to get it integrated, but
Salim L
whatever.
says there we go, Seth.
Whatever. It works. And I think the thing is they don't appear to be, they don't think that the charts are like a big draw for them. So, oh man, my DOMs didn't reset. Well, I have to fix that later. Change up the time frames. Yeah, they don't want the
Salim L says get inside that S-Hun.
They're not looking for the chart to be a huge draw to it. It's kind of like a missing feature, and so they're just adding it. And so that's where it's like, if you're using the if you're using the bridge with NinjaTrader, I don't think that it's gonna convince you to come off. I don't think that they've added anything in there that would convince you to stop using NinjaTrader. That makes sense? And that's kind of where I'm at. Is I guess I probably had some unrealistic expectations that it would. But especially without the ability to program it. It's like, I'll just use NinjaTrader then. Okay, so there they did it. Yeah, it would have been a good trade. But now that they've touched it, you're likely, yeah, of course they're already back 2 points. Oh, you know what? There was another thing. Is you're saying that the rhythmic updates are more chunky. I think that has much more to do with the current market than it does the data feed. The market before the open here was really dead.
Salim L says actually the data feed of Rhythmic is quite good on NQ.
Yeah. Well, the ability to have so many more prices show up is really nice on NQ, right? I can see there's some size stacking below the low there. And on the
Salim L
upside,
says
there's
I am
some too, but
surprised.
not nearly as big. That's where I'm getting at, that like it seems to me that the draw to CQG is that you can add the indexes and stuff, and I don't think that they're worth it. Maybe if they would give you the VIX delayed or something.
Yuri says do you have target for day or just trading WAHT you like?
So you talking about like a profit target for the day or like a price target for the day? So I definitely have a couple of different price targets that I'll set when I'm taking trades. So if I had taken that short, I would have been taking it off at 34, 32 or so. I would have it off by now. That doesn't mean that it's not going to go further. It's just that
Yuri says profit.
you don't get a lot of guidance.
Salim
beyond
L
that.
says wait let me compare it to mine.
Nah, I'm I want to get as much as I can. So like why is it that I should limit the amount of profits that I take if my trades are working? Now, if you're doing technical analysis, there's kind of this whole thing where it's like, well, if you're doing really well, then there's a good chance that you're going to give some of it up, right? Because it's random. But I'm not trading technicals per se. I'm trading fundamentals. So if I have a fundamental reason to believe that the market is going to move, then I should trade it. If it's a good trade, I'm going to take it. Of course, you want to be careful. You don't want to get into that mode where it's like, you made a ton on it, and then you want to keep trading it, even though at that point it's just kind of chopping around. But that really should be just that the fundamentals don't support another trade, right? So, but on average, I usually a good day I'll take $50 to $100. Really good day, maybe I'll do like 200 on one contract with a micro. So that's how I do it. But I always have a profit target with my trades. Like let's just say that I was going to buy it. Um, I would probably be looking for it to come back up to the buyer's cost basis at like 34 to 39. But because we're having this open and everything, it's probably better to just sit here a little bit. And we got consumer confidence at the top of the hour, right? Estimate is 93 with a previous of 92.6, and I think that it might actually be better than that. I think that it might be like a 96. The other consumer confidence survey was pretty good, so the whole problem there here though is the overnight was just so you know, they're up too much. Doesn't surprise me that they gave some away.
Yuri says we're different each one from school's grin.
Well, uh, when you go into the way that I trade, okay, my opinion is that trying to pull a technical edge out of the market is very unrealistic in today's environment. So if you're having to trade off of value and fundamentals, then it's a different game, right? Why should I be taking a trade unless I know where it's going to go to? If If I really don't have a clue where it's going to go to, then it's probably not a good trade. That's why like I can't jump on the short here. I have no clue where. I suppose we could go to 27 now, but below that gets really hard. We would probably need to watch more of the action to see where it gets to. Especially since I don't feel that this move is really fundamentally driven. I think that it's really more of just they are up way too much overnight, you know? Well, they're going to retrace the overnight at least. But then it's like, can you retrace yesterday? It was a strong bid at the close yesterday, and I don't know what the deal was with that, and they could retrace that for sure. There's going to be a weak structure on it. No, if I'm going to take that one, they have to give me a
says
really good setup.
S3425 is LVN.
3424. Right, but why would it being a low value node mean that it should trade? Because it was a low value node before? Don't get me wrong, I think that it's an useful thing to know. I just don't believe that I can formulate a trade off of that.
Plan B4 Trade says touch and go. Plan B4 Trade says being LVN price can rebound from there.
Maybe. Maybe it will. I don't know. This goes back to, when we're, talking about I'm trading off of fundamentals and news. That means that any piece of information from about the price from the past is irrelevant to me. I mean, I like to know where they are because if I get a setup, if there's like some setup, so like say the setup is, and I know that this isn't necessarily what you're saying. Well, actually, what you're saying is that it's going to go 34.24, and then it's possibly going to bounce there, right?
Salim L says I take it back, dear Seth. NQ just exposed rhythmic lag. Rhythmic skips prices on NQ. Not up to speed, but would be fine with S and others. Do you use tick to influence your decisions?
What do you mean by do you use tick? Do I use the tick index? I got rid of it. So I wasn't really using it. It was nice to know breadth and stuff like that, but I don't think that it was a critical component of my trading. Hard to say what you think you're seeing in the NQ. I just don't see it. I really cannot tell the difference between the two. I can tell a difference between rhythmic and trading technologies.
Plan B4 Trade says yes, man Boeing.
Yeah, so if the trade is they're going to go to 34.24 and they're going to bounce, and I had a fundamental reason to believe that we should be selling down to a further point lower.
Salim L says nah, so don't worry. If it doesn't matter for your style.
I would 100% would sell into it there just because I know that there's a lot of technical traders that think it's going to bounce there. Right? But I would have to have a reason to think that it's not going to hold that. And when I say a reason, I mean it would have to be something not based off of past price action, right? It would have to be like, okay, China and the United States just declared war. That's going to go through it. You know what I mean? Court already ruling on the Apple thing? Saying they can ban Epic, but not the other ones. for now. I think that that's just a preliminary relief hearing. Okay, now we do have consumer confidence.
Plan
coming
before
up.
trade says that's a bit of a hardcore reason to trade on. Cold sweat smile.
Yeah, I'm just always giving you like the most extreme example, right? A lot of the times the trades that I'm basing on are just due to sentiment and positioning. That's where I kind of got to be careful about the positioning thing, because like I could see that there was some positioning at 34.32, but like, is there really positioning? There was a position on the open at 34.27
Salim
or
L
so.
says, and my connection ping is 87.
That one's passed.
My fiber optic broke down yesterday. Love you, CQG.
Here's my challenge to you. Provide hard statistical data that shows the difference between the two data feeds. It's not just like I opened them up and feeling it out and here's what I see, because your perceptions of it is going to be distorted because you might like one product or the other. Because I really think that you might just be seeing something that's not really there because you want to see it. So I really don't think that there's any significant difference between them. The difference is that Rhythmic allows you to see more price levels. CQG allows you to see indexes. That's it. Well, could buy it here if I wanted to try and front run the consumer confidence. I mean, I have kind of a tepid reason. I kind of think I know what the consumer confidence is, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, but you really don't know, do you? Yeah, I don't think I really know for sure. So I guess if they had given me 29, that would maybe be a safer bet, but chances are at the moment.
Block sell, block buy.
What was that? Wow. So they sold 35 and bought 40, but it's still stuck there. What?
Vlad Stolyarov says TSLA doesn't want to die yet. Vlad Stolyarov says 2020-2050 zones.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in the treasury before. They might get stuck there. See that the euro reversed that ugly move down, but I think that my euro chart just crashed, so
Salim L says true, but if accuracy matters, less price levels means less data to be sent. Therefore, it can be sent faster and more accurately. More purse levels means more data and less accuracy and reliability.
Well, not necessarily. It just means that it's more resources required to support it, right? More resources on Rhythmic's end to support it.
Ivan O says morning.
Good morning, Ivan. How are you? I mean, I think that the risk reward benefits me here.
Plan B4 Trade says at Salim L latency and throughput are not the same thing.
Yeah, so your ping being 87 is going to have a lot to do with where you're at, right? Because I ping lower than that. I think last time I tested it, it was like 50. But see, I'm a lot closer to Chicago than you are, right?
Salim L says Plan B I really don't know the difference.
So latency is how long it takes for your message to get to the server and back. Throughput is how much data you can send at a time. So what he's saying is that if you have a fat enough pipe, you can definitely send all that more data and not have it affect your latency. It only becomes a problem when there's so much data that it requires multiple passes to send it. Right? Okay. For our country to be sending 80 million unsolicited ballots is very unfair and a roadmap disaster. Even recent small and easier to control elections, which did this, are a catastrophic disaster. Fraudulent and missing ballots like never seen before, 20% and 30% off. Stop it. Yeah. I agree with him. The amount of, like, some of the statistics from some of this mail-in voting stuff is like really alarming that they're still trying to push it. That's Donald Trump tweeting, by the way. I didn't say. 420 comments on that post. And then it like stopped. Oh, okay, now it's 443. Got about 7 minutes here before the consumer confidence number comes out. Getting a little clicky there. haven't actually seen the book outright flip in the e-mini, by the way. Okay. Somebody kind of smacked it down there. I wonder if that was some stops. Seems to me the action they were seeing right now um, could just be buyers trying to absorb before the news. Well, they weren't going to go for me. Hmm. Price movement being brief leaky at the moment, isn't it? In it. Silver. What he's doing isn't trying to shore up his base. What he's doing is reaching out to the center. What he's doing is he's reaching out to the center and saying, "Hey, look at how crazy these Democrats are. You have to come together with us." It is reaching out to the center. He doesn't get it. I'm going to respond to him. 1 minute. So I'm gonna close this. So again, the number's 93 is what we're looking for. I am seeing them, the treasuries in particular, lightening up a little bit here. Okay. It's 84.8. So we're gonna bail on that. Not too much damage done, so new home sales is really, it was 13.9, really good. Let me turn the text to speech back on for you guys.
Salim L says there is a political Satan more evil than Joe in France. Do you know who that is? That guy literally
heard
walks
about
with an
that.
Illuminati triangle on his forehead.
Well, yeah, what? I heard about that. Okay, well, when I look at the wider liquidity, it still looks like it's like they want to go short, but I might be, I don't know. What I'm seeing is different
Vlad
from what I
Stolyarov
normally
says
see.
triangle.
So I think what I need to do is I need to switch one of these out and look at, like, well, let's do it. We'll do it. And get rid of this, and I will add this, and let's add it back.
Vlad
to
Stolyarov
the
says
one
Illuminati need to
range
pump this market higher.
and make this max level filter 10 and see if that gives us the switches like they
Salim
should
L
see.
says his name is Triangle Macron. Vlad Stolyarov says 2000 TSLA failing now 1990.
So that consumer confidence number is not good, is it? But the new home sales is really good. So you're getting a little bit of a mixed bag. I don't think that the new home sales really matters. I think that the new home sales has more to do with people relocating away from the
Plan B4 Trade
cities,
says the Fed is already doing their best to pump the equities.
which is not necessarily a good thing. And overall, we're still negative on the day. So I could maybe, if they gave me the right price, we could try going short. It'd have to be a little higher. It'd have to be like that.
Vlad Stolyarov says Fed need to stop saying we are not even thinking about raising rates.
Well, they're not. Hmm.
Salim L says short the hell out of her.
That's not right. I think I have a bug in my code I need to fix. I think they're going to fight it out, but that this bad consumer confidence number is eventually going to lead to
Salim
a
L
more
says what's
extended
going on?
sell-off.
Chart looks funky.
What, this one? I reset it trying to check something, but I'm realizing now because I set this one to include
Vlad
more
Stolyarov
levels than
says
this one.
UVXY rising, I think it will crash.
I set this one to have more levels than this one, and they're showing me the same
Vlad
thing. So that
Stolyarov
feature's
says
not
market
working.
soon.
So I need to go into the code and see what the deal here is. The level filter should be being applied, and it's not. So probably I need to, in fact, the fix is probably not too hard. It's probably just not included in that indicator.
Salim L says yow, I thought it sped up on its own.
There, I have a filter on there that allows you to specify how many levels away you should include in the calculation, and it's apparently it's showing everything. That's why it's not changing as much. Because normally it goes back and forth a lot. Apparently gold is getting hit here. Should we... Yeah.
Vlad Stolyarov says this is the spot where I would be getting short normally, but this isn't normal market.
I have a sim trade on here, but I need to reset NinjaTrader again. That dollar index thing has got a problem.
Salim L says yes, we should.
Okay. I don't know what causes it, but it's just like that indicator will just randomly, or that chart will randomly freeze sometimes. Oops. I haven't switched it over here. Let's fix that. Oh, it opened up the workspace. Get to fix that. Dun, 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 dun. That one, no. That one, yes. Okay. I don't know why it's still being slow here, but whatever. Okay. Cool. Hmm. 3410.
T-Bone21 says, what indicator are you using to overlay trend on top of price action?
I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean. Can you show me which chart are you talking about? And what does it look like?
T-Bone21 says red and blue on 1 minute.
Talking about the red and blue on this one right here. In the lower right. The red and blue boxes in the background.
T-Bone21 says yes,
Okay,
sir.
so I have a video on my channel here called Trading Multiple Time Frames. And it's got a picture of the guy that's like, trade all the time frames. And I talk about how that works. So go watch. And in fact, you know what? I'll find the video for you. That's what I should do. I should find the video for you. Oops, that's not what I wanted. This one right here.
Salim L says NinjaTrader is not up to par. What do you think about Sirachart? Speculator Seth
okay.
Day Trading says.
Like so hold on a
T-Bone21 says
second.
thank you.
Seeing me having to restart NinjaTrader and all of that, that is entirely because of this one chart that I have. I have this one chart that is just a pain because I have 3 data series on it anyways, and then I have an indicator that adds in like 10 data series inside of it. And there must be something wrong with, I bet you that even if I had everything off in just that one data series, I'll have issues with that one data series. So it's that one indicator is not NinjaTrader that's causing this to crash. And when it happens, it doesn't crash the whole application. It's just that one chart. Because I have gold on that one chart, I couldn't see that gold was going down. Maybe I need to split those out. Maybe just have the dollar index on a separate chart or something. I don't know. Anyways, but back to T-Bone. If you look at that video, I explain how I do it, and I give you a link to the download and everything else like that. But it is actually a separate data series being overlaid in the back, is what it is. Okay, so we're running into this overnight high area. We've taken the day negative. Ooh, we could take the week negative too. I mean, that's down there, but it's possible. There's a bunch of these. There's a bunch of these floor pivot levels in between here and there, though. So I think that I have to take it off, actually. So I really wanted to hold that, and I would like to see the daily VIX targets at like 3410. Hey, maybe even 3386 is possible today. I really think that consumer confidence number is bad, but I'm at a spot where we're likely to see a significant reversal. If we don't, then things could get really ugly. But for now, I think that we got most of the
Vlad
longs
Stolyarov
stopped
says
out
low
there.
activity today, mostly retail gamblers.
Yeah, I think that we, for the most part, we got the longs washed out there. We got to take it off. And you can see it's trying to reverse here. See, yeah. So I think that that's the right call. I think that was definitely the right call. You can see it reversing there now. I'm going to come over here and try and fix this indicator, right? Should probably rename this thing. Yeah, I'm not using it. That's funny. Okay. Oh, you know what? It's going to be in here. So I should come in here and I should say if e dot position is greater than what do I call it?
Salim L
Min
says the
level
wrath of the gods is befalling thee in the summertime title of the video. Salim L says CQG gods.
or e dot position is less than min level filter.
Vlad Stolyarov says algos went for short stops. Vlad
I told
Stolyarov
you.
says I expected that.
Did you expect that? What did I say when I got out, right? Said, well, it looks like we washed out all of the longs. There's a good chance of a bounce here. I should get out. And sure enough. Now they came back up
Vlad
so
Stolyarov says
forcefully.
kinda key pivot.
They came
Vlad
back up
Stolyarov
so
says
forcefully.
TSLA went over 2000.
Kind of makes me wonder if they're going to try and go back up to like 33, 38 now.
Vlad Stolyarov says they washed them pretty good.
Okay.
Plan B4 Trade says if I can brag a bit. That 3425 level worked like a treat. Slightly smiling face.
Yeah. Okay. So It's funny, isn't it? Because okay, here's what we're gonna have to do. This is here's what we'll do is I will every time that you see that we'll call it out, and every time I see my little thing that says that it's gonna bounce, we'll call it out, and we'll see which one does it more. Because it just was kind of a coincidence in this case that the stop out level happened to end up there. I don't know if that's likely
Vlad
to
Stolarov
happen,
says,
but
scratching my head, how NQ can bounce so hard.
well, probably it's bouncing so hard because you kind of got a confluence of stuff, right? The guys, the market makers were took it off there because they knew that they couldn't really get a whole lot more from it, and the technical volume profile traders were taking it there because it was a low profile node, and the chart traders are going to see that kind of that spot from yesterday and take it because it's as a rejection of
Vlad Stolarov
yesterday's
says
high.
volumes traded were good.
Well, not yesterday's high, but a high pivot
Salim
from
L
the
says Joe
morning.
Biden recruited rhythmic algos to crash your system.
So in effect, you got a pretty aggressive bounce.
Plan B4 trade says fair enough.
Yeah. Now, I would note that, yeah, they had picked up a good amount of longs there. When we went down, the shorts
Salim
took
L says and you
profits.
bought into it.
The shorts took profits. The longs have not really taken any profits on this move up, so there could be more. Okay, so now I'm getting that.
T-Bone21 says, is there a valid Discord link?
Is the one that's in the video description no good? No, that cannot be. I think it still works. What does it give you when you try and click that link in the video description? Okay, so that broke this resting orders one. That's interesting.
T-Bone21 says invite invalid. Vlad Stolarov says worked for me. T-Bone21 says maybe some issue on my end.
That's really weird, yeah. Here, I'll generate one just for you, all right?
Vlad Stolarov says maybe you need to confirm you phone.
Oh yeah, if you're not like your account, you have to have an email and a phone validated to get into the server, but there's a new link that I just generated.
Speculator Seth Day Trading says.
So this one will be everything. In this one, I'm going to put max level filter 10. Okay.
T-Bone21 says we'll try on phone.
Oh, that's not going to work either because No, it should work actually. Should work. Okay.
T-Bone21 says I am in. Web link giving issues but phone was confirmed.
Okay. Well, hope that that's not a problem with all of the links. Did you get in with that newer link that I gave you then, or was it? Yeah, my e-menu is still loading apparently.
T-Bone21 says yes.
There we go. That's significantly bit different. Yes, this is what we want. Very good. Look at the tenure, man. Right, crazy stuff going on there. What's going on here? Oh, you know what? I screwed something else up. Gosh darn it. One range. Okay. Okay.
Salim L says COVID is blown out. Not even as bad as a regular flu.
Hmm.
Plan B4 trade says the expert virologist. RJ Wheels says, what is your basis for that, Salem?
Well, when you look at the death rate for people like beyond the older population, it's not really worse than it's a death rate that's very comparable to the flu. So, what we're getting right now is that bounce was a pullback. It looks like they want to go down further. So this is where I have to start looking for fixed
Plan
targets
B4 trade
because
says
they're
the experts
way
say
too far.
otherwise.
No, they don't. So early on, so this is the thing that's so funny about it, Plan B, is that early on in the pandemic, the World Health Organization was saying like the death rate for this is like 5.5 or yeah, like 0.5% or something like that, which is like really, it was ridiculously high. And then now that we've come down to it, it's like 0.1% or something like that. But I digress. They said that early on, and remember Donald Trump's was like, nah, it's not going to be that high. And so basically what happened was when the death rate, when it came to the United States, and that death rate actually did decrease, he was right. So the media didn't report it. But if you go and you look at, the CDC and you look at the death rate, and especially if you look at the death rate for people that are under the age of 60, it is not any worse than the flu. And the media just kind of stopped reporting on that because they were basically wrong. They were basically wrong, right?
Salim L says Joe Biden affect Joe Biden protect us. Chichikov says nations have different ways of counting deaths.
But he's right. Like think about it for a second, okay? First it was like we're past the curve.
Trade says it's just not about the death rate and the infection rate. The fat tail risk of this event is not comparable to your run-of-the-mill event.
Well, maybe. But let's just focus on the coronavirus thing itself first, right? The recovery of we're past the curve. In pretty much all of the major population centers in the United States. We will have a vaccine early next year. We have effective therapeutic treatments for it now. As far as the market should be concerned, coronavirus has been defeated at this point. The only thing that's really remaining is to get over any kind of hump that might be caused by going back to school, or at least convincing people that going back to school isn't a big deal. So a month from now, coronavirus won't be a thing. Maybe people might still be walking around with masks and social distancing, but coronavirus just won't be a concern to the market anymore.
Salim L says true.
So now we get into what you're talking about, Plan B, which is like that the impacts from the coronavirus is probably going to be very long lasting, which I think is true. But the market has not been trading off of that. I've been watching this now for 5 months. Well, not I. We've been watching this now for 5 months. And for 5 months, we've been talking about how bad things really are out there, that the number of companies that are going bankrupt and the number of jobs that are actually being lost and the amount of unemployment that we're actually having. And the market just doesn't care. So I don't know what to make of it. But yeah, you're right. you're right that there is a pretty significant. How did you put it? The fat tail risk of this event is not comparable to your run of the mill event. Yeah.
Salim L says if Trump is next to you, you are going to be okay. America.
If Trump is next to you, then you should be okay. Hmm. So what I see at the moment. Hold on.
Chichikov says coronavirus was the fastest growing quasi-religion. It will leave quite a spiritual void.
Oh. I think I've still got a bug in this. Quasi-religion.
Salim L says just eat meat. Love Trump and smell shotgun powder.
You're gonna have me thinking about that for a while now. Okay, let's refresh this chart, see if that fixes it. Yes, that's what I want. Exactly.
Chichikov says just to be clear, are you taking about S by default? Plan B4 Trade says I really bothers me the levity that most PPL used to talk about corona. Tell that to the many of thousands of families that lost loved ones.
I'm not going to touch that one. Are you talking about ES by default? Not necessarily. I usually try to specify what instrument I'm talking about when I see something. So I'll usually say E-mini 10-year, whatever it is. But I'm almost always talking about the E-mini or the 10-year. So when I was talking about the market, what I see right now is I see a market that wants to retrace because we really are up quite high, but doesn't have enough positions built up to move it. Does that make sense? So like we're not seeing like a huge mass of new positions coming in and selling it, and we're not seeing enough longs stuck and getting washed out. And so we just really can't seem to move it very far. we're able to stop out all of the longs, and then it just kind of stops. So we're still kind of in that spot. So you could see them do it a couple more times, but I think that they probably need to build up more positioning. Now, I do see a bit of long. I bet you that probably was a washout, and that was probably a washout. So probably the number of longs are probably a lot less than what my chart here shows. Airline pilots learn to fly drones amid mass carrier layoffs. Oh boy. The market ear is kind of sounding a little bearish today. They're just saying that like the put call ratio is just so ridiculous right now that it would really be something spectacular if the S&P 500 were to actually reverse lower now. Well, they could probably take another low here. I don't know if I want to take it. I don't see the risk reward in it for me. Let's look at a volume footprint. Footprint. Nah. Was a lot traded around the 3430 area though. So it actually is surprising to me to see my inventories saying that there's not huge positions on. Cool. So this is what I'm expecting to see. This one should stay pretty consistent, and this one will flip around a lot. I like it. Now we need to go over here and figure out what the deal is with my with the other one. Let's open up a new chart for that one, because playing around with it on that chart take too long. Load one day should just give me a really easy chart. Okay. So I want to add the resting orders indicator onto it. Okay, that works.
Lobo Trader says price plays at the close of yesterday. Yesterday was an impulsive day. Really, we just experience a resistance right above us. No retracement. IMHO. Retracement would take out yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly see the setup, Lobo. Well, it's not just like the technical structure below us. This is like a really great example for you guys of where it's like, for me, it's not like technicals don't matter. It's just that's not why I take a trade. So the conservative confidence number was really bad. So if buying is weakening, if consumer demand is weakening, that's a real problem for this market, right? So that does give us, and then you add on top of that yesterday's move was like incredibly impulsive and doesn't really seem to have any kind of driver behind it. Hey, welcome. That's a new name. Welcome. Anyways, and then you add on top of it, there wasn't really a reason for us to move up from what I can see, at least. Yeah, good chance that we're going to retrace that move. And then you look at the technicals, and like the structure below us is weak. Like, yeah, you start breaking into the yesterday's opening range at around 34.23 or so. And then you could retrace like the whole day potentially and go back down to 3410, which would put us at our VIX um, expected range bit. And then if they really wanted to go, they could go down to the second VIX level, which would be 3385, which would take us to below last week's as well. So I definitely see it. What I'm not seeing is
Lobo
the
Trader says yeah agreed.
yeah. What I'm
MISS says did you do
hold on.
operations today?
What do you mean by operations today? I did take a trade. I did make a little bit. Anyways, I'm just not seeing like the imbalance at the moment and the risk reward at the moment to take it. So this might be a case where maybe we could take it as she goes or something, you know? Well, that was pretty aggressive. Maybe you could sell that. For me, I would probably have to be getting at least 26, 27. Whoa.
Salim L says the operations referring to your surgical precision on NQ.
No, that's clearly not
Salim
what
L
me
says sorry
SSS
S.
was saying. Freaking NQ. Okay, so something happened there that had to have been news. So that definitely puts a kibosh on me doing any kind of short at the moment until I know what's going on. Okay. Something happened. Help me out, Financial Juice. Euro took a dive.
Salim L says just do it.
Huh.
Stephen Wright says China news maybe.
I don't know. Created an awfully big outside bar, didn't it?
Lobo Trader says I did not understand the comments of yours made before VIX. Using VIX levels as a measurable auth than fear. Salim L says flash crash.
Yeah. Okay, so Lobo Trader, I have a video about this. I'm gonna find you the video for it, where I explain this. Here we are. So remember that the VIX is, I mean, we call it the fear index, but that's not really
Lobo
what it's
Trader
measuring.
says ILL find it then. Thanks, no worry.
No, here it is, right here. That's the video right there. Remember that the VIX is really a measure based off of puts and calls and the strikes that people are using to really kind
Speculator
of predict
Seth
how
Day
far,
Trading says.
How much movement there is in the index, or how much movement there is expected to be in the index. So what we do is we use that VIX level and do a little bit of math to get a projection about how far we think price will go. So your average move now we've been underperforming the volatility lately, but if we're going to actually have a down day, then you're likely to meet that volatility. And the first downside target that we have is at 3410.
MISS says does not distract you. Talking while you work?
Not really. So, I mean, first of all, I'm not taking a trade right now. I don't know if I'll take another trade today, to be honest. If I'm really need to be focused, then I probably wouldn't be saying a whole lot. But I also find that talking to you guys kind of helps keep me engaged. So it's really hard to keep those chemicals going when it's just like boring staring into a screen sort of a thing. You know what I mean? So talking is actually really useful. And it's the same thing with you guys. You come in, you type messages into chat that can kind of help keep you engaged, or listening to somebody talk that can help keep you engaged. We're having fun talking. The other thing is that I'm not a technical trader. I mean, I try to incorporate everything into my trade, including technicals, but I'm not one of the guys that I'm just looking for this exact setup, and then when I see it, I need to click it as fast. That's technical trading to me, right? I'm more waiting for fundamentals and breaking news and stuff. That's why, like when we saw that big move up and then it come back down, that interests me. It coming down here to the lows now after that interests me, but I don't know what the news was. U.S. shifts tricky strategy as it condemns Iran-Hamas meeting. Okay.
Block sell.
Okay. Something is effing up. What the fuck? Okay, so I want to change this here. I want this to be 1,000, not 500.
Plan B4 trade says for me it also keeps me busy and hence helps me not to do anything stupid. Like opening unplanned positions.
So the treasury was sold pretty aggressively there, didn't it? But it was not in. It didn't quite match what the E-mini was doing. I am seeing the dollar is moving up. So it does kind of feel like a risk-off move to me. But I don't know. One of the things that we've been having lately is the treasuries and the equities both sell. So
Salim L
we could
says you
get
are
that.
distracting poor MISSs. She claims her focus space. MISSs says do you have a team of traders?
Well, I mean, we have a group of regulars that are here every day. I think a lot of them are much better traders than myself. Really, it's the numbers are so consistent. It's just astounding. Like it's like the same 30 people that watch the stream every day. But I don't have like a formal team or anything like that. It's just a community of people. And really the way that I do my trading, just like I don't run this like a trading room. This is I'm going to do my thing and you can watch, and mostly we're talking and we try to talk about the markets, but sometimes we talk about it. It's about just having fun, because trading can be awfully lonely, right? So I think of the stream more as entertainment, right? So not have like a formal team or anything
HF
like
says
that.
true.
Okay. Well, not too particularly thrilled with the way that went initially. So they break the
HF says ready
candle,
for
they
dump.
break the low.
Salim L says I am in your team and Rhythmic is outside of it. HF says maybe after hours.
I don't
Salim
know.
L says as asterisk.
It was kind of funny how they went for it and it immediately had to pull back a bit.
Lobo Trader says to confirm, Shet, this is a video you referred. When should you take profits? Using implied volatility for price targets.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Okay.
Lobo Trader says thanks.
That looks to me like that as she goes trade wasn't very good. It is really close to the stop point. Like it is really hard for them to push below that. Something seems to be going on here though. Let's see if the treasuries start bidding here. They look like they might be flipping around. Okay. So they came like what, one tick short of the low there? Treasuries are bidding. Question though is, will that lead to risk off? Does that confirm a risk off trade, or is it they're gonna go in tandem? Hmm. Book's not flipping down. How much is trading here? Hmm. There was a lot traded at 25. We're below that.
HF says one more push up then dump.
Yeah, they might come and stop me out and then dump for all I know.
Gary Rich says trading is like having a wife, a girlfriend and a mistress. Separately each works great, but if all three meet, watch out, can't please all three at once.
Wait, what's the difference between a girlfriend and a mistress? I don't. Okay. Well, must not be what I thought it was. Guess that's okay because it is a slow week, right? I was kind of starting to think that I could actually pull out a more serious trade here today, but that right there just kind of says to me that they're just still kind of pulling off nonsense, you know?
Chichikov
like
says if you have a wife then isn't a mistress the same as a girlfriend.
right? That's what I don't get it. I guess with the girlfriend you actually have a loving relationship with, and the mistress is just for the sex. Is that what that is? I don't know, man. I don't
HF
have
says slow till second week September.
like. Oh my
Gary
gosh.
Rich says a mistress will do things a girlfriend or wife won't. Like serve breakfast in bed.
Wait, what? Mistresses will serve breakfast? How does she do that with the what? Okay. Dude, you probably know more about that. Listen, I have gone through the dating multiple women at once sort of a thing. Like when you're first dating, with Tinder around and things like that, it's really common. Like you've got to assume that they're talking to like 20 other people, right? And until you've actually like, start calling them girlfriend or whatever, and it's like an exclusive relationship. But before that, you could be making out with multiple girls, and I did that for a while, and as long as everybody understands what's going on, I didn't think that it was that big of a deal. Now, the problem with the futures is that the E-mini doesn't know that you're also trading the treasuries. That all right, they're going up now. They're gonna reverse and pump out. Well, hmm.
Lobo Trader says NQ reverses. MISS says did you lose money in this operation?
No. So because it's Jackson Hole this week, I'm not putting on real risk today. So it looks like that my trades today I'm down $6, but those are on a sim account. So but we could still make another trade. I don't know. We got 30 minutes left before I usually quit. I mean, that looks pretty bullish. Kind of wonder though if they don't pull everybody out to 34.32 and then flip back around again.
Salim
Really
L says dump
does.
your girlfriend unless you are the one serving her breakfast in bed.
FDIC lower profits are due to uncertain
Gary Rich
economic
says right
conditions,
after
depleting
option
capital
expiry the
levels are very
markets will
strong.
slightly sell off before another attempt to run for the tops.
You think so? But wasn't last Friday the options expiry? This is looking like somebody flipped the switch again.
MISS says micro futures were the Kami's greatest innovation.
Yeah. Well, the regular E-minis were just getting too big, especially with the volatility. Can you imagine what things would have been like if they hadn't had the micro futures, man? The liquidity would have been that much worse. I don't know. It kind of looks like somebody flipped the switch, guys. Well, that's a little bit more of an extended downturn. That wouldn't, well, I don't think that that's enough to say that
Lobo
flip the
Trader
switch
says
is
this
up.
wash and rinse seems to become standard these days. Disappointed I lost quite some money in this.
Yeah. Well, so let me just reiterate what I said at the beginning of the week. You're going to have really difficult action here this week because a lot of market participants are reducing risk because of Jackson Hole is a really significant market event, typically speaking. And a lot of people are gone.
Gary Rich says Jackson Hole is a nothing news. All the Fed is
Nah.
gonna say is the same thing as before. Luke, I am your father.
So I think there's two things with that. Number one, the federal the president's speech is expected to have significant implications going forward. There's a chance that maybe he won't say anything all that significant and we won't really get the goods until the meeting, but
Plan B4 Trade says buy any dip. Fed has your back. Cold sweat
but
smile.
but B, it's not really so much that it's like an impactful event so much as it is that it's just like all the central bankers are gone there. It's like the last vacation week of the year. It's typically one of the slowest days. It's always super choppy this week. So I don't really recommend putting on a whole lot of risk this week. Now, if he comes out and
Salim L
says
says
something
Lobo man
moving,
up and pull your pants up and chin to the ceiling.
I mean, if something comes out that's truly market moving, then like go for it. But was the consumer sentiment news enough? Well, it worked out for me. That trade worked out for me, but now it wasn't enough to make it go all day. So you got that thing, and now it's kind of back to like chop.
Lobo Trader says it's Salim L winking face. Thanks Seth, we'll keep in mind.
Mm. I don't think that the Fed is going to say the same thing that they did before, though, Gary. It sounds like their
HF says I'm
approach.
in for a long scalp.
It seems like their approach to inflation is going to change significantly. Not just that they're willing to overshoot the inflation, but also in how they read inflation and stuff, I think is about to change. So
Salim L says military salute to you Lobo.
well, this
Gary Rich says what will the Fed say that they haven't already said? They signaled they will support the market. The fiscal stuff is something to pay attention to.
Well, what they're going to say is they're going to reveal the results of their study on inflation, and they're going to point out things about inflation that people haven't really considered a whole lot before. And maybe they're going to say that the Federal Reserve is going to pay more attention to these certain metrics more than they did in the
MISS says
past.
SMB is financing merchant. Why don't you meet them?
Because why would I go and trade their account when I can trade my account? I don't get that one. If I can trade my own account, why wouldn't I just do that?
Salim L says Lobo demo it then Lilo it then live it.
Yeah. Apparently there's some problems in the Bitcoin market today. I mean, it's just down to 11.5. It's not a huge deal, but like I'm reading a lot of stuff on Twitter, like debate about
Salim L
Bitcoin. Like
says
they seem
SMB
to
is
be
50-50 BRAAA.
Yeah.
MISS says they are giving a lot of money. SMB.
Well, you think that they're going to give me like 10,000, like $100,000? I mean, if they'll give me $100,000, then maybe I'd consider it. But and let me guess, I have to pay like $200 to take a funded
HF says funding firms are
combine.
funding their own pockets.
Have to take some combine that will have an unrealistic profit goal that doesn't really have a very good correlation to success successful trading in the future. And yeah, no thanks.
PRT1 says $1 million. Gary C. says on the SMB issue, the number of ACTULLY funded traders is minimal. They make money off their training.
Probably. I don't know a
Salim
whole
L.
lot
says
about them.
$380.
I don't know a whole lot about them. Rand Squawk. The U.S. Treasury says Vietnamese dong is undervalued in 2019. Things my wife and the U.S. Treasury both tell me. The dong should have been more long. Reporter Mashin tweets the airline industry is lobbying Congress for a 6-month extension on the $25 billion payroll assistance that CARES provided. Kedlo is on television? Hearing Kedlo's name on that. There are no plans to cut payroll taxes. Tweets Financial Juice. I have 5K I get into micro futures. You could. You only need $50 in margin for a micro contract. But I would recommend starting with at least 500. But if you're just starting, then you might also want to consider just trading sim for a while, because you really don't want to be risking money unless you already have, you're really confident in your trading. Like, I mean, 95% of traders lose money. So my take on that is that probably 80%, you know, 80% of traders should probably still be trading sim. Oh, look at that go. It's like they just turn it on and it just goes. Man. That was, yeah, it's pretty good. It's not natural, guys. Trends like this, unnatural. Manipulated, maybe. You're brilliant, bro. Did you know? Taking some profits. Well, what I see here, I think I can keep this. So, there's a couple of things here. First of all, oh, you've been doing this for 5 years? That's good. Now, I don't know what the deal is, but I feel like that our stream just attracts a lot of really good experienced traders. Are you calling me brilliant? I really don't think that I am. There are some things that I am good at, okay? I think that I am pretty good at looking at a really large piece of information and figuring out the piece of information that really matters and then explaining it to somebody else. I think that that's the one thing that I'm good at. I think that I'm really good at programming. I think that I have an approach to markets that is pretty effective, and that if you follow it, which is basically that oh, you see what that was? That was I started revealing the secrets and OBS disconnected on me. You still there, guys? Sorry about that. Anyways, I'm not brilliant. I'm just a regular guy. The idea is to win more than you lose, also to reduce the losses and let the profits run. Yeah. But I agree with that. I usually try to get a lot more on my winners than that. Like that last one, I only got the 20, or I only got like the 4 points. And I usually like I've often been getting 10 points. But yeah, it just happened to be the situation. Now in this one, I am seeing some profit taking. But it still looks to me like they turned the switch on and it's still on. The RT1 is just a Gigolo. What? Lobo says you're one of the 95%. I'm sorry, Lobo. Listen. So if you're having a hard time, here's what I would recommend. Trade sim until after Labor Day, for sure. And then after Labor Day, maybe you should still trade sim, or at least just only trade like one contract. Don't put a lot of risk on. And consume as much fundamental news about the markets as you possibly can. And ignore any kind of technical setups that you think that you have, and just trade the fundamentals on a short-term time frame. Have a Twitter up, have a news feed, something like that. That's what's been working so well for me. Gary says, I read both bearish and bullish consensus on oil. Okay. The bearish case for oil prices. Did you see that tweet earlier from Zero Hedge, Gary, where they said, hey, what would happen if Joe Biden became president and then he rescinded the oil embargo on Iran? Kudlow is still talking on CNBC and trying to clarify what he's saying, I guess. Tenure looks super bearish today, man. There's all that volume that happened at around 01, 01.5 though, so I probably don't want to mess too much with that. You know what? We probably should have taken one off when we got up there. I should have. There's the NASDAQ is pushing, pushing, pushing. There you go. Okay, so it's coming back on us here. A little bit of volume there, kind of confirming that the guy's still got his position there. I think. What is more important, the technical analysis or the fundamental analysis? I think you're asking the wrong question, to be honest with you. I think that you have to watch the whole system, right? It's a really markets are a really complicated thing. And if you're only looking at one side of things, then you're missing half of the picture and you're never going to be able to explain or understand what's really going on because you could go in and you could say, okay, here's a technical setup. Does that technical setup have a probability of leading to a certain kind of a move? And you see the move and you say, oh, okay, it was because of that technical. But maybe a piece of breaking news hit at that time. And maybe you'd say that setup happens because of the news, but then how often do you actually see that before news happens so that you can say that's actually true, right? If you're only looking at one side of the equation, then you would never actually know. But I will say, if you really understand the fundamentals and you're really good at selecting your trades for fundamental reasons, you'll have a much better win rate. So I guess I would say that the fundamental is more important, but the issue is that the mass majority of retail traders completely ignore it. So maybe it's not so much that the fundamental is more important so much as it is that there's more opportunity for retail traders on the fundamental side right now. Oh yeah, I posted a video yesterday. Very, very good, Lobo. Thank you so much for my video that I posted yesterday, which was about day trading for beginners. I kind of talk about that, and really it answers that question really well, I think. You recommend to study treasures. Where should a technical guy like myself start to learn any hints? Good question. So, when you're learning the treasuries, the first thing is I really feel like to understand the treasuries, you've got to have a DOM up and watch the order flow in them, and you want to have all of them up. Okay, you want to have the 5, the 10, and the 30, and kind of just watch the differences between how they trade and stuff. So that's the first thing, right? The second thing is you really want to get spreads. So I have a video way back where I posted my spread indicators so that you can watch the spreads. So now you can start looking at, are we steepening or flattening? Okay. So then that gives you a really good spot to start, is start doing research about the yield curve. What does a bear steepener mean? What does a bull steepener mean? All of these sorts of things, right? and then start watching the correlations, right? And then a lot of the stuff that I've learned about treasuries just kind of came from trading them and talking to other people that traded them, you know? Like, how does an auction typically affect the treasury? How does currencies typically affect the treasury? So there's so many different things. And, I can't tell you how many times something would happen. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I would find out that there was some sort of key event that I was just completely clueless about. You know what I mean? There is no, well, there are correlations. It's just, how do I put this? The E-mini and the treasuries tend to trade opposites of each other. Tend to, but they don't. But when they don't trade opposites of each other, there's a reason for it. So it's kind of the question is, what are the correlations between instruments and what do those tell us about what the market is seeking at the time? If they're trading opposites, then it means that the equities are doing well and they're selling the treasuries because they expect that in the future the Federal Reserve will raise rates. And vice versa if they're going the other way. But if they're going the same way, then usually it means that the Federal Reserve is expected to be easy money for a while, and so the treasuries are staying up, and then the equities can go up too, because interest rates are going to be low forever. I'm asking this because I made a combined chart of selected companies for which for some reason has been helping me scalp by giving me a bit of a heads up before news. Have you explored if there's an edge with looking at the top companies, the S&P 500, and using that while trading the ES or the NQ? Oh, yeah. No, so you know what? That one's kind of a funny one, actually, Zaj, because I was seeing a lot of people on the subreddit, on day trading subreddit, saying that they've been scalping Apple and that they find it really, really useful to watch the S&P 500 index to see where Apple is going. And then I saw another group of traders in our trading room that were saying they were trading the S&P 500 futures and that they found it really useful to have a chart of Apple up and to watch that. I don't know. It kind of sounds like, tail chasing to me. You know what I mean? The reason why watching correlations is useful is because it can tell you something about what the market is doing. Okay? When it comes to Apple, the thing that you would want to know is like, is it just Apple that's moving the market up, or is it everything that's moving the market up? Right? So now we're learning something about the market. The breadth of this move has not been very high. All of the money is going into these tech companies that are doing well because the pandemic is very beneficial to them as everybody's staying home and working remote, and the rest of the index is doing incredibly poorly. Now we're learning something about the market, right? Can the market continue to go up without breadth? I don't know, but that then kind of brings you to the big question, the big thing that people are debating, right? So now we actually understand the problem we can factor that into our trading. That's how I approach it. What do you think of the European market? Are there many opportunities there? Well, for sure. I don't trade DAX or Bund or anything like that because I don't get the data for it. But there are a number of European traders that we have in our Discord, and there's one or two of them in particular that seem to do really, really well. So I know that it can be done. I don't think that there's really quite as much opportunity as there is in the US markets, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Oh, somebody's asking me in a PM, and I'll just answer this for everybody. What brand of monitors do you use? It doesn't matter. I have Asus monitors. But for day trading, what you get as a monitor isn't really a huge deal. What I would do is I would get on Craigslist and wait for a monitor, like decide which size you want. I have 27-inch monitors. So like 27-inch 3K or 4K monitors, That'd be great. That's great for trading. Just wait on Craigslist for one that's cheap because you can get them really cheap used. You'd be surprised how many people are reselling them. Have an index mention based on top of a. Man, I'm getting a lot of newer people coming in today. So I always try and acknowledge you guys when you come in because to me it's like we have almost the same group of traders here every day, and like we have a pretty tight knit group. So when I see somebody, I want to make sure that you're welcome and you feel like you're a part of the group. Someone with a day job trying to learn futures trading, is there a market you recommend trading that are open at odd hours? Yeah, well, so I have a day job. And in fact, it's about time for me to get going here soon. So I may have to let's do that. Um, so this is about the time that I usually quit and start doing my day job. So a lot of it really depends on what your how do I say what time zone you're in. What time zone you're in matters a lot, right? If you're on the East Coast, then you're kind of screwed on that respect. But if you're in the Mountain Time Zone or in the West Coast, then you can trade treasuries because the treasuries open up at what is it 8:20 Eastern time, which is 6:20 and 5:20 over here on the West Coast, right? Of course, you have to wake up early, but you know, I'm often done and made my trades and I'm finished for the day before the equities market even opens off sometimes, you know? So I think that the treasury market is a really fertile market, right? Um, hold on. The squawk is talking about Belarus here. Hmm. Anyways, now if you really, really can't trade the morning, I mean, the first thing would be you kind of have to ask yourself if your life is really set up correctly for day trading. Um, but you can trade the Asian markets. There are people that trade the Asian markets in the afternoon and do okay with it. So the hard thing with those markets is like, do you know a whole lot about what's going on in Japan and stuff? You know what I mean? So, oh dear. So, I'm gonna do this. That helps. Good. Good. Um, yeah, and on that other point, if you want to swing trade, um, holding positions overnight, if you have a large, I mean, most of us don't do that because we just don't have a large enough account to handle it. But there's been a lot of studies showing that there's more movement overnight. That essentially what is happening is that there's so much liquidity during the day that people that really want to move the markets are trying to do it at odd times now. But I don't think that one will last forever. Nikkei on Osaka does a good volume for trading. Yeah. Yeah, there's like the Nikkei, and I'm sure at some point there will be able to trade Chinese bonds. That'll be fun. Um, but my issue with trading those isn't so much the liquidity as it is can you actually gain an informational edge over there? You know, like it's going to be really hard to trade the Nikkei if you can't read Japanese. You know what I mean? If you want to learn Japanese and do all that, then go for it. We have I know two guys. I know two guys that moved to Korea and trade in Korea. So you can do it if you're really dedicated. Ah. You want to compete with the people that invented candlesticks? Well, I don't know if candlesticks really don't do anything. Could be wrong. I'm really mad that I didn't get my exit on that first one. I think that I could probably hold this. I don't know, maybe I will. Uh, I want to, like, because there's a couple of new guys in here. I just kind of want to show a reasonable trade. I don't know if this one is really, look at that. This is not really behaving the way that I expect it should. So I think that getting out is probably a little bit. If Biden happens to win, I'm preparing for what to do, and I will change tactically what he says. I take yeah. Dude, the market's going to change a lot if he wins, for sure. And I think he's going to increase taxes, and I think it's going to affect the indexes in a very negative way. Mm-hmm. The only, at that point, then the question is, how much of an advantage in Congress do they have? Do they actually have the ability to pass these things? If they do, then I think that's a scary prospect for equities. You know? Well, I guess it's time for me to go. I guess we won't be able to see how this one ends. But just remember, this week, Jackson Hole week, is usually not a very good week for risk. So this one doesn't really matter. Pretty much, I would just call today a scratch, which, in choppy action like this, I think we should just be grateful. Even though they were some trades today. You're already looking for areas to go long and short. If he wins, he has spelled it out. Well, I think that one's an easy call, right? You would want to go long any kind of green energy, and you would want to be going short everything else. Right? Is there anything else other than green energy that would do well under a Biden administration that would benefit? Oh, man. Healthcare, maybe. No, why would you go long healthcare? Oh man, I'm like, I got you got like 3 minutes. Why would you go long healthcare? Especially if they want to push for a how do we call it? How do we say socialized healthcare? You don't want to be in healthcare stocks if that happens. Go long mask suppliers. You're buying 3M. That reminds me of this whole thing where Joe Biden was saying, if the doctors told me that we should shut things down, I would shut it down again. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. He will add more mandates to the Affordable Care Act and Medicare. I will have to check with some colleagues on that. Okay, guys. So I got to go. I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:20 Eastern Time. Thanks for all the likes. It really helps the channel out. So I will see you tomorrow. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.